What's going on, Skate fam? This is your boy DJ R. Cole.
And I am the queen, and you're tuned into Boss Talk.
And today we have another one of our special, fabulous skaters in the skate community.
Hmm.
And we're going to go ahead and let her introduce herself.
Well, hello, Skate fam. It's been a while. It's Khannie, the scenario butler. Happy to be here. Thanks for the invite.
Most definitely, most definitely. So we always start with our signature question, and that
Mhm.
is, how long have you been skating?
In the rink,
Well, period.
Just period.
Yeah.
well, I started skating on the street when I was about 3 or 4 years old because I grew up with two brothers, two uncles, and two male cousins. I was the only female in the house, so
hmm
always trying to keep up with them. So I can honestly say I started street skating around the age of 3, and then was introduced to the wood when I was about 8. So total, I've been skating about 57 years because I'm
Wow.
60.
Wow.
You're the first person who ever just came out and said
And
their
just,
age.
I know, right? They always skate around the question.
Yeah.
Like, well, I've been skating since I was 6, so
Yeah.
So I probably was like, I'm like 27. You do the math, but
that's right.
yeah,
You
Gotcha.
count backwards.
Gotcha.
I'm blessed.
So, do you remember the first time you went to inside the rink,
Uh-huh.
and when you actually became serious, and you were just like, you know what, this is what I want to do, like
Yeah.
that aha
Yeah.
moment?
When you fell in love with roller
Yeah.
skating.
I fell in love with roller skating when I was living in North Philadelphia and I was about 14 years old. My parents didn't even understand the level of my passion to roller skate. So I gave them the impression that I was going to one particular rink in North Philly, not far from where we lived.
Mhm.
But in fact, on Tuesday nights, I was going to a skating rink in West Philadelphia, which is clear across the city. And at that time, it was in a neighborhood that was the residents were mostly white. It was
Mhm.
a predominantly white neighborhood, but on Tuesday night, they would allow us to skate at Elmwood Skating Rink at 71st and Elmwood in West Philadelphia. And there were some trying times, but I was so passionate about getting my roll on and learning new things because while we're all from Philly during that era, we all skated different styles where we were all known for skating fast backwards and spinning and splits,
Mhm.
but we all had our own unique way of doing it. So I wanted to learn it from all ends. Like I wanted to go to South Philly to their rinks and West Philly, of course, North Philly, where I'm from, we skated at Carmen Gardens roller skating rink.
Mhm.
And so I'm on the bus 14 through 18 years old by myself because back then I was pretty much a loner. I only did friends at the rink. When
Okay.
skating was over, I would go my way, and it was such an adventure. There were times when we got chased by white folks out of West Philly.
Wow.
Yeah. We got chased to and from the trolley.
Wow.
But that didn't stop me. Here I
Yeah.
come back every Tuesday night.
Mhm.
It was after being chased for a period of maybe 2.5 years. I learned by the time I was about 16 and a half years old that I could have been traveling on another bus route that let you off in the black neighborhood, which just was over the bridge from Elmwood Skating Rink.
Ah.
So after having bottles and sticks thrown at me for about 2.5 years, I learned to go the Negro way.
Mhm.
How'd you
Back
figure? How
then.
did you learn that route?
Well, as I said, I was a loner.
Right.
So when skating was over, I only went the way that I knew back home.
Okay.
Mhm.
And so one particular night, this young guy, I believe his name was Reggie, tall, dark skinned guy, skate like just something you just needed to witness for yourself.
Mhm.
He was saying goodnight to me and everything, and he noticed I was going right when everybody else was going left.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And so he was like, well, where do you live? And I said, I live in North Philly. And he said, well, why do you go home that way? And I said, because I take the 36 trolley. And he said, well, you should be taking, I think at the time it was the 15 trolley, which was to the left. And I said, oh, so that's how that disappeared
That
to.
was that aha moment.
Yeah, it was a yeah, a safety moment as well.
Yeah.
But so after that, I started taking the number 15 trolley, and I stopped running for my life until
Okay.
I finally got to start using the family car when I was about 18 years
Mhm.
old. So I didn't have to worry about taking public transportation
Yeah.
anymore. But it was it was such an awesome time when everybody had that same passion, and I just enjoyed so much being a part of it. I did eventually become part of a club called Rollers Unlimited. As a matter of fact, we all old and gray, but we still keep in touch.
Uh-huh.
And we all used to travel throughout the city of Philadelphia to various drinks, just meeting new skaters. But I think I was the only one out the club who really gravitated to
Okay.
new skaters and different styles, and just being at the rink, embracing, other people and their passion to do what I do.
Yeah.
So
Well, the bright side
while
was for 2.5 years, you was able to work on your stamina for running and everything.
yes,
Running for
yes, but
everybody. So, but
it's
but
it's so funny because this is a true story.
yeah, yeah,
I I used to go to Carmen Gardens roller skating rink in Germantown Avenue for, oh my God, from age, I don't know, I want to say 10 to 15. I would never skate on the 7 to 10 session. I would just sit there and watch.
Mhm.
I would practice during the afternoon session from 4 to 7, but I didn't want people to know that my skills weren't like on the level of like the most popular skaters. So I would just sit there. And all of a sudden, I'm like 16 years old, and I break out on ladies only, and I'm skating backwards fast. The ironic part was that's when people noticed me, and then that's when I made friends in the skating ring. They're like, "Oh wow, she can
Oh,
skate."
she
Because
can
back
actually
then, if you couldn't
skate.
skate,
yeah,
you were
mhm,
really making a lot of friends.
yeah.
True story.
So
So
do you,
I'm
So
sorry. Where did your passion come from? You said you had this passion for skating that you went all the way across town, dodging bottles and sticks. But where did the passion come from?
I think the passion came from I've always been a very athletic person. I used to be a part of a dance group, and that era was starting to fade out somewhat, but I still had that passion to just dance and show out and have fun. And since I could already stand on skates, um, and I like I said, I was going to Carmen's, and then I ventured out to
Mm.
Elmwood,
Mhm.
and I saw the various styles, and with the music and just watching people and how much fun they were having, and just the whole just seeing people coming together and having great relationships. And I later on discovered Franklinville Skating Rink when I was 17. That's in Franklinville, New Jersey. And after skating, we would go to the pizza shop and have a slice of pizza and soda after skating. And just that camaraderie
mhm,
of people just having that love for the same, well, I call it a sport.
mhm,
Some
Mhm.
people say hobby.
mhm,
Yeah.
I can honestly say I'm a professional because I was one of the extras in Roll Bounce. So,
mhm, mhm,
I, they hired a few
Yeah.
skaters to be background, as they call
Mhm.
it.
mhm,
Mhm.
So, just all of that, just hanging out and mixing it up with young people, older people, because at one point I became an older person. Like when I
Yeah.
was in my early 30s, I was one of the older skaters and was hanging out with
mhm,
skaters who were between like 21 and 25 who looked up to us.
mhm,
Um, I guess my passion just came from just watching other happy faces and and being a part of that, and the music and the DJs and
Mhm.
just the rumbling that floor, you
Hmm.
know, that doom, 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 doom,
Yeah,
doom.
yeah, yeah. It's
And the stinky sock smell. You know, you walk into the skating rink
that's
Okay.
different.
Yeah, that's different. That's a different
and
passion.
it just, yeah, it just takes over. But then you adjust to the smell, you throw your
Mhm,
Yeah.
skates on, and then you just get out there and you do your thing. It's just a combination, that whole environment, from the
mhm,
DJs to the skaters to the floor to the even like the rink managers and owners, because you get to know them after a while. I
Mhm.
got kicked out of the skating rink many times for chewing gum because they were very strict about not chewing gum.
mhm.
Mhm.
And Mr. Roger, who is the owner of Carmen Garden Skating Rink, we reminisce all the time. He's like, Connie, remember I just asked you to take your gum out your mouth. And I'm like, Mr. Rogers, I need this gum to focus, so I can do what I do. And he's like, but you can't chew gum on the
Mhm.
floor. And he threw me out. I got thrown out like, I don't know, every other Saturday afternoon, whatever it is.
So you was pretty much on his radar then. They pretty much knew
They were
to
just waiting
watch
for
you.
her. They were just waiting for her
Yeah.
that movement.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So finally, my now sister-in-law, at the time we were best friends, and one night, I guess I was about 19 years old, and she said, Connie, you've gotten kicked out of the rink more times than we could count. Like, you need to grow up. Like, take the gum out your mouth before we go in the rink. And I'm like, okay, Crystal.
Mhm.
So took the gum out, and we've been everything's been good since then.
Mhm.
That was some hundreds of years ago, but it's all behind me now.
You sound like me. That was 1,000 years ago. You used to do that. So throughout
So I
your
learned my lesson.
years of skating, what's been one of the most memorable moments for you?
When I discovered Empire,
Mm, mhm,
Mhm.
um, those New Yorkers, they just have a way of loving.
mhm,
They don't care where you come from.
Mhm.
New York skaters, they just have a way of opening their arms and just welcoming
mhm,
everybody.
mhm,
Philly, it doesn't
Mhm.
matter. South Jersey, DC, Maryland. I lived in the DC, Maryland area for about 10 years. We'll get to that.
Mhm.
But when I first went to Empire, it was around, oh God, ugh,
mhm.
19, I don't remember, maybe 1970 something.
Mhm,
Mhm.
It, maybe I was 18-ish,
mhm,
but I went in there and, that was the disco age. And it was just me and my sister-in-law. And they just loved us. They knew we weren't from there because we were
Mhm.
skating fast backwards,
Right.
and we were doing something different, but they opened their arms, opened their homes, and it was just such an awesome experience. And then, of course, I left the Philadelphia area for about 10 years. And then that New York scene got popular again. And so now I'm probably like 35 ish.
mhm,
And we started going back to Empire, and nothing changed. Same thing.
Wow.
Few faces changed, but
Yeah.
that love was always there. So I have to chalk that up to one of my more memorable experiences as I was growing into the skating community.
mhm. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So what I'm looking, we have a few pictures on the screen and I was looking at your skates. What kind of skates do you roll on?
Oh, they right there, Khannie.
Hey.
Nothing but the best with them bone wheels.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
Bones Wheels. That's where it's at right there. That's where it's
That's a 375 boot. You probably can't even get that anymore.
Oh
at.
Lord. Hey, so you original OG. That's
They
originals.
original. Yeah, I
Yeah.
had those kids. Ooh, I got them like 1990. I was living in the DC, Maryland area, so
Mhm.
probably like 1992 or
Mhm.
93 ish.
Yeah, yeah. And you know what's
Wow.
funny about that? The skates that I have, well, they're a custom made. They're on combat boots. Put on some sure grips. And I've had those since like 90. I want to say oh man, 97, 98,
Mhm.
and they still roll like they're new.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
So
so
with
Yes.
the skates though, like I mean, when you have them that long, you don't, because I see like what is the thing in the front, the boot guard in the
hmm
front.
hmm
Do you, well, obviously your feet aren't growing or anything, and it should be custom to the skate now, but they don't.
Yes.
I mean,
you
I
don't
guess
really
Oh, my
see
Rydell is
those on.
must
new
be
feet are
banging
beat up.
because
They
there's
they they
no.
beat up. My skates look like they've been to war, but over the
Okay.
years I've polished them, and they got a lot of scuffed up marks. And this is why I try to say, and I know people gonna probably beat me up for this, but this is why I say to
I think
from
we
other
think we're having a
places
little bit of a bad connection here. Let's see.
now.
It's going in and out here. Let's see. All right, try again. Let's see.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
So tell us
Okay.
what you tell the skaters about your boots.
Skate these I mean in these where boot isn't beat up, then you're not skating fast backwards properly because we hug that wall, we tag that wall, we hit that wall, we kiss that wall. That wall has knocked out more people than I can count.
Oh, I can
Because the
imagine.
closer you get to that wall and the tighter that boot is to that wall,
Mhm.
honey, let me tell you,
Yeah.
that's fast backwards. You doing your thing. Now,
That,
the ones who choose to emulate us, they do a fine job. They got the
Uh-huh.
beat,
mhm.
Uh-huh.
but we're born into it.
That's what I was
It's
gonna
who we
say.
are.
You guys have been fast backward for a long time, and I know here in the Houston area, they actually just started
Mm.
doing that. I'm not a fast skater. I'm actually from the Midwest, so I'm not really a fast skater. But when I see them doing fast backwards, or even when I'm on social media and I see the East Coast doing
Yeah.
fast backward, it is a difference. You guys
Yeah.
be flying,
Yes, Lord.
and
And
Right.
hugging the wall.
I'm like, wow, is
Yeah.
no way.
I'd be all
Yeah.
on the
And then
floor.
the newbies, they got it. They flying. They
Mhm.
got,
Oh yeah.
they got their own style and their own way of putting it down.
hmm hmm
But I can always look at a video and I can point out who's from Philly, who's from Delaware, and who's from South Jersey.
Yeah.
Because while we all have mastered the fast backwards, you can always tell when, like a Philly skater, we got a certain rhythm in our shoulders, we got a certain rhythm
hmm
in our
Mm.
arms, the way our arms move. Like the arm is like almost like we beating a drum. It's like
Yeah.
movement, but we're going so fast that some people may not catch all that
Yeah.
arm and movement. And most people, they got the speed, coming from their legs.
hmm
So
Mm.
that's how I guess it can appear that some people got it. They got
Yeah.
it when they don't got it. Like
Right.
hmm
JB skaters, they are originals.
Yeah, you
And
Yeah.
can tell the difference between Midwestern Chicago JV skaters and
yes,
one that are from
yes,
other places. But
Yeah.
yes,
watching you guys
yeah,
doing fast backwards is like watching NASCAR. You
Yeah.
know, it's like
Have you ever had an injury? Because that is, it's like roller derby. Y'all be
what?
going so fast.
Have I ever had an injury? What?
Yeah. Because I'm like, that's a washout.
I've had quite a few washouts. I
Mhm,
Okay.
mhm.
mean, especially between I broke my leg
Okay, we heard that you broke your leg.
in three places
Oh, three places.
in
Wow.
September. It was Labor Day weekend. Skate-a-thon when she moved it to Virginia, it was year 2000, which was my very first skate-a-thon, and of course I took it in big and brought it out big. I broke my tibia, fibula, and shattered my ankle bone.
Oh my
Say that three
goodness.
times fast. Tibula, bibula,
Fibula. And
fibula, tibula. Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
I had the metal rod going down my right leg, and I have a metal plate over my right ankle.
Hmm.
But it didn't stop me. People was calling me Kanye broke up Butler. I ain't care. I was like, whatever.
So how did you get the scenario? How did, because you was broke up now, but how did you come with Connie the scenario?
So originally the scenario started in 97, but we didn't actually hold the first party until
Mhm.
1998. So it was a collaboration type thing. It
Okay.
was me and Nikki Bowens from the DC, Maryland area, because
Mhm.
as I
Mhm.
said, I lived in the DC, Maryland area for 10 years. And so that's where the scenario started.
Okay.
It was only meant to bridge the gap between the DC, Maryland, Virginia skaters, and in mind then was the Delaware, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and New York skaters. That's what the whole purpose of the scenario. You set the scene.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, that was our humble beginnings. Fortunately, when we opened the door for our first annual, there were almost 500 skaters. That was just
Wow.
unheard of back
Wow.
then for a first party. 1998, our expectation, we kept, we were a little nervous and we're like, oh, if we could just get 200 people, oh my God, what a blessing. We
Yeah.
praising
Yeah.
God and thank
Yeah.
you, Lord, and thank you, Jesus. And we opened the door and it was like a line, like, what? What?
Mm.
Okay, so we had a line originally of about 250 skaters.
Mm.
And after they came through the door, here come a bus from New York. We're like,
Oh
okay,
wow.
they're
Okay.
going
Wow.
buses.
Wow.
Okay, couldn't breathe. Because
Yeah.
now here come like an additional maybe 50 people. So again, it was almost 500 people. It was a very successful first annual. And that those numbers continue to climb over the years. And here we were in like 2000, well, 2000, the
Mhm.
Mhm.
same year that I broke my leg because
Mhm.
I was on crutches for scenario 2000.
Mhm.
And so I came in on my crutches and ready to do nothing. And so that particular year, I guess, because people were talking about it, the internet was getting a little more popular back
Mm.
then.
Mhm.
And
Right.
I guess people were curious to know, well, who is Connie Butler?
Mhm.
Mhm.
Well, that brought out another maybe 700 people.
Mm.
Okay.
And so it was pretty scary for me because number one, again, I can't walk.
Mhm.
I was out of commission for exactly 5 months.
Mm.
So while that was a very successful party, it still was a time for us to reflect and try to figure go any further with the scenario. Uh, time and Nick going to another then I the scenario by myself for about 3 years.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And my daughter, who was in the military at the time, she saw, how hard I was working, getting
Mm.
things prepared all year by myself. And she came every year. She helped every year when she got to, the Baltimore area, which is where the scenario was held. Um, then one particular year, she was stationed in Dover, Delaware, and that was in 2004. And it was somewhere around the spring of 2004, she asked me if I needed, additional help. Like, did I need her to help the whole time? And I'm like, oh my God, well, what can you do? And she's like,
Yeah.
I can do anything you want. And I
Mhm.
said, well, can you do this with the DJs and can you handle the vendors? And I just started giving her things that I really needed to take off my plate. And she was very gracious and she did it. And then 2004 scenario just went off like with like fireworks.
Mm.
And
Wow.
from that then on, we became partners and we were partners for 14 years. It
Mhm.
best move ever.
Wow.
Like
Nice.
Wow.
scenario became its own brand. Scenario became not just Connie the scenario anymore. The
Mhm.
scenario became like a mother-daughter tradition. It became a party that people embraced because of the love of skating. They said that we were, great hosts. They said that they will come back again next year and bring a friend or two or 10. And that's what they
Hey.
always
Mhm.
did from 2004 to 2018 when we closed out with
Mhm.
our 20th annual. They
Mhm.
kept coming back and they kept bringing friends, and it was just a great party. I know a lot of people may be listening to this broadcast wondering if it was such a great party and we
Mhm.
ended on such a high note in December 2018, but we were tired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
we have full time jobs.
Mhm.
Right.
And I know some people think this is a get rich quick thing,
Mhm.
having these
Mhm.
parties, but you don't know the time and the energy that it
Yeah.
takes to put into a party.
It's
Like,
Right.
stressful.
Yeah.
Mhm.
you got to get to know the rink owners. You got to, I don't mean rink managers, I said rink owners.
Mhm.
Mhm.
You got to get to know, hotel management and,
Mhm.
the GM. You got to know who that person is. Like,
Mm.
even the people that you invite to do the vending, you got to know who you're bringing into your house. Like, you don't want to
Yeah.
bring negative energy. You want to always keep the energy high. And no matter how tired you are, and as a DJ, I know you can understand,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter, what you feel inside. On the outside, you just got to look like I'm having more fun than
Yes.
anybody in this
Yeah.
house. It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
about energy.
Yeah.
It's
Mm.
all about positivity.
Yeah.
And if you want people to keep coming to your house, you have to keep spreading
Mm.
good energy,
Mhm.
good positivity. And anybody know me know I'm full of love because I'm a hug.
Yeah.
I'm a hug both of y'all when I see you. Virtual hug.
Hey.
I'm a hugger, and so that's what you get, and that's
Yeah.
what you were getting when you came to a scenario. So the scenario stayed in full bloom because of the skaters. And I want to take this opportunity to thank every single skater that's ever experienced a scenario.
There you go. There
There
you
you
go.
go.
There you
And I
go.
think that one thing you said is that people don't realize how much work is this is not something you do in 2 to 3 weeks. You have to start when you end your scenario, you have to start again for the next year. And you start cultivating it. And then like you said, you have to make sure the people that come in, because there's always going to be a new vendor.
Right.
You have to find different DJs. You want to keep it flying fresh.
Mhm.
There's just so much work that goes into that, and I don't think that
Mhm.
they come to skate. They don't really look at the background work that you have to put into it to make it a
Yeah,
success.
they don't look into it. As I remember when Houston did the Platinum Experience, I was one of the main people who actually put it together, and it was the very first national, not here in Houston, but at that particular rink. And the stress level is high. It was a year in planning. Is multiple phone calls. For hours, we actually for the meet and greet, we actually had a boat, and it was back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, signing contracts. It was a lot of stress behind it. And like you said, on the day of the event, you're so tired, but you have to
Mhm.
put
That
a
face
smile on
on.
your face. And not only
Absolutely,
was I
absolutely.
I the coordinator and host, I DJ too. So
Mhm.
I was just like I was literally a zombie. I was literally a
I
zombie.
can attest to that.
But but but
I
seeing the
think,
smile on the people's faces, that was
yeah,
payment right
Mhm.
there.
well
That
worth it.
brought the energy.
Well
Yes,
worth it.
yes,
Well worth it. And I would do it
yes.
all over again.
I think I think coordinators get not all coordinators. I
Hmm.
think some coordinators, and I even got, somebody even put me in that mess about 10 years ago. We get a bad rap when it comes to, well, some people had the opinions that we're just in it for the money.
Right.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
Mhm.
my daughter and I, we can honestly say we weren't in it for the money
Hmm.
Yeah.
because our prices from our first party in 1998 till 2018, 20 years, the price of the advance tickets went from $8 to $14. And I
Mm.
don't think that's significant in the
It's
time
Yeah.
frame.
not. It's
Yeah.
not.
Especially the amount of money
And
you had to
our
put
at the
into it.
door
Mhm.
prices went from $10 ending at $16
Mhm.
Hmm.
from 1998 to 2018.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And I don't think that's significant because we always wanted to give a good
Mhm.
quality party. We tried to keep the hotel rates as as cost effective as
Mhm.
possible.
Mhm.
We thought about people who were traveling from the West Coast or from Florida, or even we had people there from Canada. So we considered all of that, and that's why we wanted to pick vendors who weren't going to charge $30 for a T-shirt. Like, what are your
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
prices? Like, we needed to know that kind of stuff
Right.
before we, allow these people to come into our house. So um, we just wanted good, clean fun,
Mm-hmm.
and make it as cost effective as possible. And let me tell you, neither my daughter or myself has bought a house or a car
Mhm.
off the
Yeah.
scenario
Yeah.
returns. I can promise you that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's a misconception that people
Yeah. Because the
have because
court
they just see the number of people and they
and they think it's the
Exactly.
assume,
money.
but they
Right.
don't look at you have to pay the rinks, you
Mm-hmm.
put the block on the hotel, you
Mm-hmm.
have to pay the
Yes.
DJs, you have
Yeah.
Yes.
to some of the restaurants, there may be some deposits there. There's
Mm-hmm.
a lot of things that they
We
don't
do
see.
giveaways. We do
Yeah.
cash giveaways. The vendor money, we gave that money out. And anybody that's ever come to a scenario can say, "Oh yeah, they give out cash money that right back."
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And that's one of the things too is that um, the ones who actually make the money is actually the rinks.
Yeah.
They're they're the ones who actually make the money. The coordinators really don't make anything. I can say that I didn't make anything, but it wasn't about the money. It was just about the people enjoying themselves
Mhm.
and having a good time. That was it.
Mhm.
That was it. It was for the skate community because it was something they asked for. So if it's
Mhm.
something that they asked for, you want to give it to them. So
Exactly.
yeah. So I definitely commend you guys on such a long
Yeah.
run, but
Long.
you know,
Successful.
successful run, but at the same
Well,
token,
thank
I
you. But
I get it. Hmm.
I had a mentor, and I listened to her. And I can honestly say, by listening to her, before I say her name, I want to say she taught me firsthand how to negotiate with hotels.
Hmm.
And
Mhm.
this was right around 2001. She brought me into one of her meetings where she was negotiating with the team of one of the hotels that she did at her host hotel,
Hmm.
and where she negotiated the meet and greets and the contract from dealing with the block of rooms to what we're going to be um, like what's the word? Can't even think of the word.
Happens to us
The
a lot.
rooms that you get for hospitality.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Um, this person was like she was very strict and very firm about, if I take you under my arms, Connie, if I take you in, you have to listen and you have to follow every single piece of information that I give to you. And that is Joyce Stafford, known as Joy, who is
Hmm. Yep.
the host of
Mhm.
Skateathon.
Hmm.
Mhm.
And Joy stayed with me, held my hand for, I would say, 5, 6 years until I got it down pat. Like, when I would start negotiating contracts for hotels and skating rinks, I can promise you, we weren't doing what some of these coordinators are doing. We
Hmm.
weren't paying to skating rinks, but some of these people pay to skating
Mhm.
rinks.
Hmm. Hmm.
And it was Joy, like I said, who took me by the hand, and she showed me firsthand the ropes.
Hmm.
And if I came back with one wrong answer, she said, "Oh no, you got to call them back, Connie, because that's
Hmm.
too much." No.
Hmm.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, "No, that's a good price. Because last year we paid." She said, "I
Uh-huh.
don't care
Hmm.
what you paid last year. You call them back. You don't sign your name to anything, and then when you get to this price, then you call me back." And I would call my daughter, and I'm like, "Marilyn, ain't no way these people gonna agree to that."
Right.
Hmm.
And I would call them back, and I would use my corporate voice because I've been in corporate America over
Uh-huh.
25 years and now in education 15 years. So I'm like, I should have learned something in all these years. So I'm like, okay, all right. Get on the phone. I'm going to be Joy, and I'm going to tell these MFers, this
Yeah.
is what I'm getting, no less. And I get on the phone and I talk to these rink owners and these hotel salespeople, and they say, no problem, Connie. I'm like, what?
Hey,
Wait, what?
say only
No
I
problem.
needed to channel joy in the beginning.
Yeah. And, these are people that I was already doing business with. We already proved who we were. We showed that we were no nonsense. We showed
Hmm.
that we were mature adults. We showed that we just here to have good, clean fun, and we go home.
Yeah.
So, what is the harm? Because this party is in December. So, what is the harm of us asking for this amount and do this and do
Hmm.
that? Nobody gets hurt. You still walk away with a good little profit. Everybody's happy.
Mm.
And I would call Joy that next night or whatever that looks like, and I say, "It worked." She said, "I told you they don't want to lose your business."
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
wow,
Mhm. Mhm.
wow.
That
Mhm.
epiphany moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, so it's all in how you handle yourself and how you have to first prove who you are. Like I try to tell some coordinators, you can't just run straight out the gate saying, this is how much we want to do this for.
Right.
Mhm.
No,
Hmm.
I've been in this game a long time, and it took about a good 6 or 7 years before I was able to bend the ears of rink owners and hotel management before I could say, Dad Nabbit, listen,
Right.
this
Yeah.
is what I'm doing, and I
Hmm.
won't accept anything less.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Prove who you are. Take
Yeah.
baby steps.
Hmm.
Take baby steps. It's going to come. If it's meant to be, it will be. I don't care whatever it is you want. If you want to be the best skater, if you want to be the best skate coordinator, whatever it is, you want to be the best DJ, you want to be the best vendor. Like, don't go out and buy 1,000 shirts. You just
Hmm.
coming out the gate.
Right.
Right.
Try it out with 50 shirts,
Right.
and you
Hmm.
got to give 5 away for free because you
Right.
got to have somebody running around advertising.
Yeah.
Right.
So baby steps in all that we do. So I'm still learning, even though I'm not doing a party anymore. I'm still learning because I'm still talking to people,
Right.
who are trying to do different,
Mhm.
projects.
Mhm.
So I'm still learning.
If you can go back and change something uh that you know now, if you could go back and change something um during your journey, what would it be?
You want to know the truth?
Yes, we want to
Hey.
know the truth. We know you're going to tell us the truth anyway.
She knows I'm telling the truth. She doesn't want to be in the interview, but it is my daughter.
Mhm.
Hmm.
And I'm going to tell you the honest truth. I wish I had never been a skate coordinator. I wish I had just stayed Connie the skater
Mhm.
because
Hmm.
that's who people knew me as
Mhm.
before I became a skate coordinator. It was like, oh, there go Connie the skater. Oh my God, we love to
Right.
see her skate backwards. She be skating her
Hmm.
behind off. Oh my
Mhm.
God. And spinning, I was known for spinning and skating fast backwards.
Mhm.
And if I can turn back the hands of time, I would go back to being just Connie the skater.
Mhm.
As you all know, I can be, I can voice my opinion. And when you're a skate coordinator, you can voice your opinion, but you
Hmm.
got to keep things on a professional level. You
Yeah. You
Yeah.
can't
have to be
say
Yeah.
very
Because you're
diplomatic.
under a microscope.
Yeah.
absolutely,
Mhm.
Yeah.
absolutely. But see, Connie the skater, ooh, Lord
Say
Jesus,
she can say what she want to say.
he was a whole,
That's
whole nother
just
person.
that's just really deep to that introspect that can look back and so even though you had a successful career that you can look back and say, you know
Yes.
what, I just want to skate. That's
Yeah.
that
Mm-hmm.
love and that passion. You want to give something to community, but you could go back and you could just think of all that time you could have been enjoying your passion and your love for roller
Yes.
skating.
Yes. And not being censored and trying to be
Right.
politically correct
Correct.
and
Mhm.
not judging people when they say, "Oh man, this DJ whack," and then I would
Mhm.
just, I would say, well, why don't you give them a chance? Like you
Right.
started
Right.
and complaining after 2 songs. Give
Mhm.
Mhm.
this DJ a chance. Wow, yeah, he don't play like my home DJ. Well,
Mhm.
I'm sorry, baby, but you're not home.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You
Mhm.
Yeah.
you here
Yeah.
and you're trying to experience other things. So
Right.
Mhm.
take that in consideration.
Mhm.
And then 2 hours later, the person come back to me. sweat dripping off of them. Oh my God, I'm so glad I stayed. I'm so glad I stayed. Thank you.
Mhm.
Like, yeah, yeah, that's what a good politician does.
Right.
But
Right.
the other Connie, the skater Connie, I'll be like, well, why don't you just go home?
Yeah.
Leave. Bye. See you. Go on with your bad self. See you at the next party. Kiss, kiss.
Yeah. Not finna rain on my parade.
I'm going to get out here on the floor.
Exactly. Exactly. Oh, yeah. And that was another thing. When I was on the floor getting my roll on, and because I'm kind of the scenario, here they come, hugging and kissing. As soon as I get in my zone, because I'm known for my dips when I'm
Mhm.
skating backwards slow. And then when I start dipping, don't come up to me hugging me. Don't do that. That's a violation. Like, the red light should go off. The siren, somebody, the skate guard, somebody should be coming up like, don't touch her when she in her zone. And but that's one of the other yeah
Mhm.
yeah situations you had to deal with as a skate coordinator. So if I
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
Connie to nobody but who could skate,
Mm.
then I probably wouldn't get as many hugs. But then I guess if nobody hugged me, I'd be like, dang, nobody don't love me.
You
So,
can't have it both ways.
Exactly. So come on with the hugs. Let people know I'm a hugger.
yeah, yeah. So, besides being a skate coordinator
Mm.
and
And hosting the scenario,
right.
you've been in roll bounce, and there's other things you've been in the skate community.
Well, I wasn't trying to because I told you I run away from cameras,
Mhm.
but Eight Will and some Soul Brother music. I had
Mm.
a small clip in that they caught me skating backwards fast,
Mhm.
Okay.
and it was an interview that Tyrone Dixon was doing at the time when I was a part of Skate Group. So I was sitting at the table with Nikki, Desi, and Desi. Um, while Desi, of course, was the spokesperson because she is the owner and creator of
Mhm.
SkateGroup.com.
Mhm.
Right.
Nikki and I were there because at the time I was the PR person, and Nikki pretty much was a big part of the coordination for Skate Group at the time. So
Mhm.
Mm.
it was some Soul Brother music, and then it was a young lady out of New York. I don't know what happened to that documentary, but she interviewed both me and Ice from Philly at the same time,
Mhm.
and so it was an interview, and I saw it, but I don't even remember if I still have the CD,
Mhm.
Do you
the
remember what
DVD.
it was called? The
Mm-mm.
documentary.
Her name was Snowflake.
Mhm.
Okay.
If anybody heard of her,
Yeah,
Snowflake, if
I
you're
have.
out there, can I get another copy of the DVD?
You got some lost files and some lost video footage out there that the world needs to see. We
Yes.
need to see.
I'm
Exactly.
going to Google
Yeah,
that.
it was a pretty good. It was a pretty good interview because if anybody know Ice from Philly, he
Mhm.
is a comedian, and so we had a lot of fun doing that interview because we were like on joke time, and I know she's like, I wish these two people would get their acts together because we too busy
So I'm trying to
laughing at
host
each
an
other and
interview.
reminiscing, and she just was trying to ask questions, and we're like, yeah, remember that? And she's looking like, can you just focus and answer my questions? And we're
Mhm.
like, oh, yeah, okay. So
Yeah.
back to her,
Right.
her show.
Well,
But
maybe
yeah,
that's why
did
we
that.
didn't see it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Her name is Snowflake, but you can always follow up with Ice because I cannot remember the name of that documentary, but did that. Um, what else have I done? Looking at my daughter, she's like, um,
Well, you said you were with Skate Group. You were a public relations officer.
and travel around the country just interviewing skaters and,
Mhm.
Mm.
and putting their interviews on skategroup.com.
Mhm.
Okay.
I did a lot of writing and follow-ups of parties that we've attended. And
Hmm.
I mean, I did it. Yeah, we did like follow-ups of parties that we attended.
Hmm.
And oh, we've won 2 Adrenaline Awards.
Mhm.
Forgot
Mhm.
about that.
Oh,
Mhm.
wow.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Now,
And
mhm. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
oh yeah, and I'm sorry. I was one of the hosts of the Adrenaline Awards. I did it with Sean
Now,
Hines from New
how could
York.
you forget that?
Yes, I don't do interviews well. My daughter said that's why she's there. She's
Okay.
there. She's there to remind me.
Now, being that you guys are in the East Coast area and you've been skating for such a long time,
Mhm.
how has the skating scene changed on the East Coast?
Yeah, I think we're more integrated. Everybody skates the same now.
Hmm.
Um, honestly, I don't feel the same passion.
Yeah.
Mm.
Um, I don't see too many people out there doing their own individual thing.
Hmm.
We become a mold.
Hmm.
I don't like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Because
agree.
if I'm speaking from in the early 2000s, while we all may have had the same style of skating,
Hmm.
we stood out as individuals.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
While I am a fast backward skater and known for spinning, well, my spins didn't look the same as maybe Ice or Tex
Hmm.
Mhm.
or Lady Linda, who was a part of
Hmm.
Wizard on Wheels.
Yeah.
Even though Linda is the one that taught me how to spin, and as a matter of fact, Brenda Irving, who's from Baltimore, between she and Linda, they got me straight on my spins because they said I start out my spins looking like a train wreck. So they had to teach
Oh,
me to slow my road a little bit and be a little more classier and not look like I'm about to charge somebody. So,
wow.
you know, like I said, individual, I don't see how we are individuals.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Same state style,
Hmm.
but I don't see how we're individualized anymore. Where you could be 10 people in a club skating same style, but you always know, oh, that's
Right.
Vicky, or
Right.
oh,
Right.
that's Sandy. Oh,
Yeah.
I know they skate in the same club, or you always know Sandy, or you
Hmm.
always know
Right.
Yvette, or
Hmm.
like you know who they are because they put a little spin on it, or
Hmm.
they do
Mm.
something. Like with me, I like when I'm skating slow backwards. I had that dip thing.
Hmm.
The young people caught on to that over the years, and they took it over the top.
They go
But
Yeah.
they
way
They,
over the
they
top.
yeah.
all looked the same.
Yeah.
They looked. They didn't. They just needed to. I just think I've seen the change as everybody coming from the same mold
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
and no individuality.
Yeah. That's interesting. I
And
like
that's
that.
disheartening because this is an art,
Yeah.
and art is different. Everyone
Hmm.
has their own interpretation of the art. It shouldn't look the same.
Hmm. Yeah. Or it
Right,
shouldn't
because
strive to
I
be the
took
same
my
either.
Yeah.
Hmm.
style from like I want to say three different people, and they wouldn't even know it because I combined the three different people that I admired,
Hmm.
and I came up with my own way of doing it,
Hmm.
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 which made me stand out.
Hmm.
Because I took it from two men and a woman, and they all three have stopped skating like probably 20 years ago. But I kept that moving forward, and the way I felt myself on the wood.
Hmm. Hmm. Interesting. Very interesting. So, what's going to be next for you?
The next thing is to get back on my skates.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Well, yes.
Everybody right now is pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I haven't skated consistently for about 2 years.
Okay.
Ah. Okay.
And
Hmm.
what? Why
Yeah.
the break?
It started, and don't feel sad,
Mhm.
but it started. My mom passed away in January 2015, and she was a big part of the scenario. Anybody knows scenario
Mhm.
know my mom, and she was the water girl selling the
Mhm.
water for us. And then another time she was selling the t-shirts, and
Hmm.
just the sweetest person you ever want to meet, and was always talking about me to her coworkers. Oh, my daughter skates. My daughter travels all over the country skating. My daughter get big skate parties. And she was like my number one fan and was always there every year just to make sure everything was, flowing properly. And
Mhm.
then, a couple years before she passed away, she was just too sick to come out. Even though I think it was 2013, she came anyway because she
Mhm.
just wanted to see. Um, and then she passed in January 2015, and I just didn't feel as motivated and inspired. I mean, I kept
Mhm.
skating and going through the motions because we had the scenario.
Right.
So we would, of course, continue to go to other parties throughout the United States, but I was just there in just my body, but not my
Right.
spirit.
Nothing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
just I just lost my passion for it. And then about
Mhm.
2 years ago, well, right around toward the end of scenario, I'm like, you know what? Who am I fooling? I don't feel like it. So I stopped.
Mhm.
Okay.
But,
Mhm.
but, my
Mhm.
daughter's like, Mom, you got to get back out there. So,
Good job,
yeah,
daughter.
even though we're going through this pandemic,
Mhm.
we did go out last week and I tried to do a little something, but I got scared and
Mhm.
I had a folding chair and I quickly sat in it.
Mhm.
But I'm going back out there. So that's my number one goal
Okay.
is to get back on my eights.
Good
All right
deal.
now. So
Good deal.
y'all look out for Miss Connie because she's gonna be out there.
She coming.
Mm-hmm.
Move out the
Mm-hmm.
way and do
for,
not
for
touch her while she's dipping.
for real. For real. As a matter
Mm-hmm.
of fact, you
Please.
might as well get you like a little alarm or something. So when somebody comes near you, yeah, you press the button and they'll know.
Yes.
Off limits.
I gotta get that special red light that goes off when you go to touch me.
There you
Yeah.
It's like
go. there,
two feet. It goes off. Yeah, I like
there.
that. Thank you very much. You're gonna
You
make that for me, right?
oh goodness.
So
Mhm.
there's one fun fact that Miss Connie shared that she's been traveled all over the United States except the state of California. So we have to get
Now,
her out
look at
to
my daughter.
Cali.
Now, don't do that, Marilyn. Never, never been to California. But let me tell you why.
Mhm.
Let me tell you why. I don't like to fly. So
Ah.
Okay.
Mhm.
no, but I fly, but I don't
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
like to fly.
Mhm.
That's the longest flight. So I traveled to San Antonio, Texas, and that killed me. But 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 I went, and the funny thing is, my daughter's like, "You want to go skating, Mom?"
Mhm.
We laughing. Why they know me? This lady was like, "Excuse me, do you do the party called the scenario?"
Mhm.
Mhm.
And my daughter looking at me, I'm looking at her. I said, "Yes."
Uh-huh.
She said, "Oh my God, I've been coming for the last 3 years." I'm like,
Wow. Wow.
"Okay,
Wow.
thank
Wow.
you for
Wow.
coming." Like,
Wow.
I had never seen her before. And I was just surprised. I was like,
Mhm.
they know who I am in Texas? Oh, wow. Get it, Connie.
Hey,
So good.
hey.
So, nope, I've never been to California. So
Yeah.
I make a promise. I'm coming back to Texas.
Mhm.
Hey.
Okay.
And if it's something that you guys are attending in California, let me know.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I promise I'm gonna put it on my radar.
You
There,
really should.
yeah,
You really should. You really should.
it's
I've been
beautiful.
Yeah.
invited by the coordinators in California.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And I always say, I'm gonna try to make it.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm scared of flying.
Yeah. But but you know what though, for a lot of skaters on the East Coast, it's
That's a haul.
yeah, it's a haul. And
Yeah.
same thing for the ones on the West Coast to go to the East Coast.
Mhm.
That's the furthest distance.
Mhm.
So the
Yeah.
flights are usually a lot more expensive.
Yeah.
The Midwest and the South is kind of like right smack
Yeah.
dab in the
And it's
middle.
not a driving. That's not a driving
And
thing
well, you can
that
drive if
you
you want to,
well you
but by
can,
the time you
but
get there, it's probably gonna be over with.
No,
So
I'm not driving 3 days to California. I mean,
right, right. That's what I'm saying. That's just not feasible.
no. I did Las Vegas twice.
mhm.
So
So
it's
you're
just
close.
another what,
Yeah.
30, 45 minutes?
Yeah, depending on where you're
Yeah,
going.
but that's
Yeah.
just the tip of California though. Where you probably
Yeah,
want to
from
go.
Las Vegas.
Yeah.
California. Yeah, from Las Vegas to California on a plane is about 45
Oh
minutes.
yeah,
Yeah, on a
yeah.
plane,
On the
yeah.
plane,
Yeah, you
yeah.
go up, you come right back down.
That's what
So,
somebody told me when I was in Vegas.
mhm, yeah. Yeah. So maybe you should just fly to
Well,
Vegas
I
and
have
then
an
fly.
Ambien if it'll help any.
You sleep
I might
good.
need it. That's funny. But
Some
it's
Ambien.
Lisa, Skate Lisa from London.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
Uh,
Well, one of the trips that we were on in Las Vegas, my daughter and me, Lisa was at Venice Beach
Mhm. Mhm.
visiting some friends in California, and she drove from Venice Beach to Las Vegas, and we hung out a
wow.
little bit.
Oh yeah. Yeah, she's real cool. Yeah, she's real
She's
cool.
like
Funny little
really, really
lady
cool.
too. She is funny. She is hilarious.
Yeah,
so
that's
right
my
now,
white chocolate sister.
white
Hey.
chocolate. Hey, there you go.
White chocolate sister.
So
Hmm.
for all of the people that are listening and who will be viewing this, how can they get a hold of you if you want them to get a hold of you?
Yeah.
How, 'cause I know you kind of.
I'm on
I want.
Facebook.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm on Twitter and Instagram, but I don't even know how to use them. My daughter's like, "Mom, when last time you've been on Twitter?" I don't know. I don't even know my name on Twitter, but
Mhm.
they can easily get me on Facebook.
Hmm. Okay. Okay.
I need a
And
scenario.
kind of the scenario, and that's
Yeah.
KHANNIE.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
the scenario.
yeah, the scenario. That's pretty dope. Well,
Yeah.
we greatly appreciate you taking the time and coming to
Mhm.
speak with us, and
Yeah, sharing
we
your
had fun talking to
story.
you, and we definitely want to have you back on. And
Yeah,
if you're in
Definitely.
Houston, make sure you stop by so you can sign our board, and
absolutely,
so
absolutely.
yeah.
Thank you so much. This was fun. Maybe the next time I'll be on the video. Psych, I won't.
People like to see who we're
Well, they're
talking
gonna
to.
say she said they're gonna see her picture and they'll know.
Well, yeah,
Don't
we
people
have
know who I am?
three
I've been doing
pictures
this for
of
20
you.
years. Don't people know who I am?
Okay.
But this has been fun. I mean, I really do appreciate the opportunity, and you guys, you rock. Like, this is such an awesome forum, and
Thank you.
I've been checking out some of the videos. And
Mhm.
if people are listening with a friend, nope, get your own app so you can listen for
There
yourself.
you go. You heard
This
it.
is,
Thank
this is
you.
awesome. Yeah, this is great. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you
so
so
much.
much.
Thank
We
you so
truly
Now, you
appreciate
must
you.
at least say bye. Bye.
Well, we normally say till next time we'll see you on the wood.
Yeah.
So,
So both of
Yes.
you, we will definitely hope to see you on the wood soon.
definitely.
Looking forward to it. Have a good night.
Thank you.